Today, we're diving into a situation that's just staggering. We're talking about a nation at a breaking point, a place where the very idea of a democratic election has become almost unthinkable. This is the story of Haiti's impossible vote.
Seriously, just think about this for a second. What if an election wasn't about who you're voting for, but about whether you'd survive the trip to the polling station? What if the people counting the votes were risking kidnapping just by showing up to work? This isn't some dystopian movie plot. For millions of people in Haiti right now, this is their reality.
So, how did it get this bad? To really wrap our heads around it, we have to start with the complete and total collapse of the political system. We're talking about a democracy that is, quite literally, under siege.
And the speed at which the nation unraveled is just shocking. It really kicked off in 2021 with the president's assassination. That just blew a huge hole in the country's leadership, creating this massive power vacuum. And right after that, gang violence just exploded, paralyzing the capital. Then, the parliament officially dissolves, leaving, well, no elected officials at all. And by this year, the state had basically lost control of its most critical infrastructure.
We hear that term, political vacuum, thrown around a lot. But what does it actually mean for people on the ground? Well, in Haiti, it means there is no legitimate president. There is no functioning parliament. There is literally no one with a democratic mandate to govern the country. And that void, it's been filled by chaos and extreme violence.
And this right here, this is the direct result of that vacuum. 80%. Just let that sink in. 80% of Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince, is now controlled not by the government, but by heavily armed gangs. If you want to understand what's happening, that single number explains almost everything.
Yeah, that shocking statistic. It brings us right to the heart of the matter. This is a security crisis so overwhelming that the state itself has been completely sidelined. And we're not just talking about crime here. This is a parallel power structure running the show.
What you have now is this deeply unbalanced conflict. Look at this. On one side, you've got the official state police, and they are completely overwhelmed, they're under-equipped, and they are seriously outgunned. And then on the other side, you have these highly organized gangs with superior firepower who now control territory, who control roads, who control critical infrastructure. And this isn't some abstract power struggle happening in the distance. For ordinary Haitians, it's a daily, living nightmare. Entire communities have been forced to flee their homes. Schools and hospitals, they're shut down. Kidnapping for ransom is a constant, terrifying threat. Roads are blocked, so food and supplies can't get through. For so many, life has just been completely paralyzed. And this chart, it shows you exactly what that reality looks like on the ground. The state's ability to provide any kind of security is dangerously low. Meanwhile, the power held by armed gangs is just overwhelmingly high. The imbalance is absolutely staggering.
Okay, so with all of that in mind, when international organizations call for Haiti to just hold an election, you really have to stop and ask, how? How is that even possible? Given the security crisis, trying to organize a free and fair election becomes a logistical and political nightmare.
The impossibility is in the absolute basics, the nuts and bolts of it all. Just think it through. How can you set up polling centers when gangs control the buildings or they've been destroyed? How do you distribute ballots when the roads are blocked and completely unsafe to travel? And maybe most importantly, who is going to risk their life to be an election worker when they could be kidnapped or killed just for doing their job? Right, and even if you could somehow magically solve all those logistical problems, the politics are a complete gridlock. You've got an interim government that nobody really sees as legitimate. The opposition groups are refusing to cooperate. And, this is the real game changer, the gang leaders themselves are now demanding a seat at the political table. They're threatening to attack any election that tries to exclude them. So, when you're faced with a situation that seems this hopeless, is there any path forward? Let's take a look at the incredibly difficult search for a solution. But before we even get into the official solutions, I think it's absolutely crucial to hear from the Haitian people themselves. This quote from someone living in Port-au-Prince just captures the deep, deep exhaustion. They said, "When every politician promises hope but delivers pain, why should I vote?" Why would you risk your life for a system that has failed you over and over and over again?
The main solution being discussed right now is an international security mission. So, the UN has given the green light for a multinational force which is going to be led by Kenyan police. The idea is for them to deploy and help Haiti's own officers try to regain some control. But it is a monumental task, and honestly, it's already faced some major delays.
But here's the thing, lasting peace can't just be imposed by force.
A truly sustainable future for Haiti, that's going to require genuine dialogue between all these key voices, from civil society and political groups inside the country to, of course, the international community.
So what's the big takeaway from all of this? Well, it's a pretty stark lesson, and it has implications for the whole world. Democracy simply cannot exist without basic security. You can call for a vote, you can schedule an election, but if people aren't safe enough to participate, it's just an empty symbol. It's not a real solution.
Ultimately, the situation in Haiti is a test for all of us. As a nation fights for its very survival, the world really has a choice. Do we look away as fear and violence silence an entire nation? Or do we find a way to stand with those Haitians who are still dreaming of a free Haiti, a future where their vote isn't an act of incredible bravery, but just a simple right?